The PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Games with Gold titles have been revealed for the month of November, and once again we will be taking a look at both services' offerings and deciding on which one is better. I would say that both services have rather good months coming up in November with a lot of solid offerings, so without further ado, let's get right into this, and as always, we'll start off with the PlayStation Plus offerings. The PlayStation Plus lineup for the month of November is highlighted by two games. Starting things off is Yakuza Kiwami. Yakuza Kiwami is a ground-up remake of Yakuza 1 on the PlayStation 4, and it's still very good to this day, and if you want a solid entry point for the Yakuza franchise, while Yakuza 0 is a prequel to this game, Yakuza 1 was the first game ever released in the franchise, so this is a great starting point. Now, the essence of the game is still a PS2 game, so there are some dated elements. However, if you go into it expecting an engaging story, solid gameplay, and a reasonable amount of content, then you'll find that with Yakuza Kiwami, and it probably will captivate you to the point where you'll want to play the other games. You'll want to check out Yakuza 0, Kiwami 2, Yakuza 6, and we know that Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 are coming to the PlayStation 4 as well. A great time to get into the Yakuza franchise, and Metacritic has it pegged at an 80. The other game highlighting PlayStation Plus is Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition. Now, Bulletstorm was a game released last generation by People Can Fly, and there was a lot of fun to be had in Bulletstorm, but the main issue with the game was its longevity. This was a game you could complete in 4 to 5 hours, there wasn't a ton of replay value, and you were dropping a full $60 on it. It was just a very hard sell, and then when the Full Clip Edition was announced, I got pretty excited. I was like, hey, now people are going to be able to check out Bulletstorm at hopefully a lesser price. Well, Full Clip Edition was released, and it came out at $49.99. So now you're getting an older experience. It's still as short and you're still paying $50. That was a little bit crazy, but now as a PlayStation Plus title, you have no excuse to not check out Bulletstorm. For the price of free, Bulletstorm is a worthwhile game with some absolutely crass humor and some fast-paced, high-octane gameplay. The gameplay that is here is absolutely great, and I feel like this is a game that contrasts well with Yakuza. Yakuza is a longer, more Japanese experience. With Bulletstorm, you're getting a full-fledged Western experience, and again, it is on the shorter side. Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition is at a 75 on Metacritic.
Do you know him?
Lastly, the Plus lineup is rounded out by two PlayStation Vita games that are cross-buy with the PlayStation 4. Not gonna spend too much time on these games, but still titles you can check out. First, we have Burly Men At Sea, which is a folklore about a trio of large bearded fishermen who step away from the ordinary to seek adventure. It's set in the waters of early 20th century Scandinavia, and the game's story branches through a series of encounters with creatures from folklore. The other PlayStation Vita title that is cross-buy with the PlayStation 4 is Roundabout, an open-world driving puzzle game where you control a constantly rotating limousine. You pick up passengers, find secret collectibles, take on dangerous missions, and fall in love while reliving a 1977 Rise to Fame story. Again, those two latter titles are cross-buy with the PlayStation Vita.
Learn to move with the spin instead of fighting.
Wow, kid. Have you ever thought of going pro?
People, small obstacles. Nothing could stop Giorgio from twisting and turning.
Giorgio and Disco Sylvan are gonna go far.
Home run! See, that's how you do it.
Little did Giorgio know that a curveball was about to land in the back seat.
Moving on from that, let's take a look at the Xbox Games with Gold title. And of course, with Games with Gold, we do look at the 360 titles as well because they are fully playable on the Xbox One through backwards compatibility. Highlighting Games with Gold for the month of November has to be Battlefield 1. Kind of funny that EA and Microsoft worked out an agreement to get Battlefield 1 on the November lineup just ahead of Battlefield 5's release, but I have always been an advocate on utilizing PlayStation Plus and Games with Gold that way. I don't know if a game like Battlefield 1 is the most strategic way to go about things because Battlefield 1 is a very high quality game, but if you've never played Battlefield, I could see people just picking up Battlefield 1, being satisfied with the experience they get here and not even check out Battlefield 5. But nonetheless, even though Battlefield 1 is a high quality experience, I can't value it that highly because this game has been on sale for $5 just about every week. So yes, while Battlefield 1 is a great game, given the fact that it has been on sale so frequently, given the fact that I think a lot of gamers have already picked it up, at this point it just seems a little bit too late to the party for Battlefield 1, but if you've never played it, it's definitely a fantastic first-person shooter, and there's a reason why it's sitting at a very impressive 89 on Metacritic.
We have lost objective Bravo.
The other title we have for Games with Gold is Race the Sun. Race the Sun has you control a solar-powered spacecraft as it races through a minimalist landscape with abstract shapes and various obstacles. Levels are pseudo-procedurally generated and separated into distinct regions, each region having different sets of challenges. The ship's speed remains constant as long as the ship remains in direct sunlight, but if the ship falls into shadow or clips objects, the speed will drop. So it's got some pretty interesting gameplay nuances. It is sitting at a 79 on Metacritic, which is a pretty good score, and I would say as a complimentary experience to Battlefield 1, that is a pretty good addition as well. Moving on from that, we've got two pretty good Xbox 360 game offerings. Starting things off is Assassin's Creed 1. Yes, a complete throwback. The very first Assassin's Creed game was released all the way back in 2007. Here's a fun fact for you. This game wasn't even set to release on the Xbox 360. It was originally scheduled to be a PlayStation 3 exclusive. Ubisoft obviously changed that, but now Assassin's Creed will be free for Games with Gold subscribers, and it's still pretty interesting to go back and play this game. I think a lot of gamers were disappointed by Assassin's Creed. There were some very interesting elements in the game, and Assassin's Creed 1 did have the novelty of actually making you feel like an assassin. Assassin's Creed 2 onwards, do you really feel like an assassin? No, you can probably run and stab everything you see, but Assassin's Creed 1 was a slower paced experience. You actually had to eavesdrop more, you had to gather intel on your target. It was a much slower paced experience, and of course people will point towards the repetition of the game, but still I feel design wise there's a lot to like in the first Assassin's Creed, and as a Games with Gold title, a lot of reason to go back and check it out. And lastly, another Xbox 360 game is Dante's Inferno. EA and Microsoft recently got this hooked up with backwards compatibility, and Dante's Inferno is a very visceral, very gruesome action-adventure game, very reminiscent of, say, God of War. Wouldn't put it at that quality tier, but a very fun action-adventure title nonetheless, and I do have to say it's a pretty mature game, so just bear that fact in mind. As another 360 title that you can just go and have a good time, not take it all too seriously, I think Dante's Inferno is another solid offering where you can just get in, play, and be done with it. And that wraps up the Xbox Games with Gold lineup. Again, I think both services have solid months, however, I would give the edge to Games with Gold just because of the quantity of games. Burly Men At Sea and Roundabout in my eyes don't really compare to Assassin's Creed and Dante's Inferno. While I would put Yakuza Kiwami and Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition ahead of Battlefield 1 and Race the Sun, I feel like in totality, Games with Gold is just slightly ahead, even though with PlayStation Plus it is a little bit more top heavy, and Yakuza Kiwami and Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition are very good offerings. I think this is a month where you can make an easy argument either way, but nonetheless I would say that both services have solid offerings. It's just with Games with Gold, one drawback is, again, Battlefield 1 has been on sale so many times that if you had a modicum of interest in that game, you probably would have picked it up for $5, but nonetheless, pretty good months for both services would give the slight edge to Games with Gold. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, sound off with your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Bulletstorm.